setting a dangerous precedent here. If you remember when I talked about the Book of Erotic Fantasy, this would be it. I mentioned that one of my previous mage characters had a first level spell essentially to do boob jobs. And I could have sworn it was in this book. Of course it wasn't. It actually turns out to be a Hackmaster book, the previous edition of this, in a book called The Spellslinger's Guide to World Domination. The spell does in fact exist, so it wasn't entirely crazy. I really should have thought of it because I'm certain it was, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. But anyway, a fan also knew of a boob job spell that was in some obscure D&D type supplement called I'll just show you, the Encyclopedia Arcane Nymphology Blue Magic. Maybe that's some kind of sex term, the blue magic thing. I don't really understand what that means, but it's very specific, blue. If you go from a specific Tolkien perspective, there was Saruman the White, Gandalf the Grey, Radagast the Brown, and those two the two blue wizards that I really can't remember their names, but we don't know anything about those two blue mages. But coincidence? Maybe? After all, they did go off together to some far-off land. Who knows what they were doing? I think maybe we do now. But yes, a fan pointed me to this Nymphology Blue Magic book, which the reason it's printed out is because it's only print on demand. It's a kind of an independent press publication made for Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition, printed under the D20 or Open Gaming License, one of the two. So the fan who sent me this particular reference found a boob job spell in this one, which I think is also first level. Not the one I was intending. However, I now have a second D&D sex book, which I will now cover in more detail than any of us are comfortable with. This book, I'm actually going to say the word, this book isn't nearly as good as the Book of Erotic Fantasy. Although, it has a very different goal than the Book of Erotic Fantasy. This one, while of course it focuses primarily on sex, the magic thereof, and the manipulation of it for practical use in D&D, and oftentimes is very silly because really, how far can you sensibly take something like this? The answer is not very far. But it did approach this with a degree of seriousness that, in places, you could actually adapt to your game. For instance, the gestation period of elves versus, orcs or humans or something like that. You could conceivably put this to use. It's not canonical, to be sure, but if you wanted to come up with some stuff or read somebody else's take on sexuality in a really weird D&D universe, because let's face it, in D&D, everything is going to be really weird, this is actually not a bad reference to turn to. Yeah, a lot of it is silly. The magic, I would argue, is virtually unusable. The prestige classes, there's essentially a tantric monk in here, which, again, we have practitioners of Tantra in the real world, but they don't exactly go down hunting dragons. There's also feats that enhance, feats in this book that enhance your combat prowess or dexterity or charisma after having just been laid. Oh, and by the way, the Tantra monks in this, using their either the endurance feat or concentration or whatever, they can make love for, I believe, days. Probably talked about that already, but I'm fascinated by this nonetheless. Also, the artwork, fantastic. So, the boob job spell in particular that we're talking about is, of course, near the back of the book, where all the other magic is. But there's so much more to talk about in Nymphology. And yeah, I read this. This is my life. I will not be adapting, I don't think anything, well, maybe. You'll see in a second. This book does feature probably the most horrifying and disgusting monster that I've ever seen described and statted out in any kind of fantasy RPG. And that's covering a lot of ground. That includes, by the way, the Age of Manure shit golem, and everything else created by the mad fecal mage Hinsty David. This far surpasses it. Although, Hinsty David may actually been a blue mage, just in a very scat play circle. You know, there's a very specific circles of blue magic specialization. You know, scatology. I don't even want to go into it. But yeah, the this book, unlike the Book of Erotic Fantasy, is much more comedic. It's made to be a comedy. It actually makes a token effort to give you something usable in terms of, you know, the blue mage class or something like that. Let's face it, obviously you will never use this for any practical purposes unless your game is out there, and that's fine. But you would be a rarity, and I really don't think you would go in here and like go to the prestige classes and look at this. If you were going to, I would highly suggest the other one. Surprisingly, I was impressed with how mature it was. But, so, primarily this is written for comedic purposes. It's kind of chuckle-worthy, but it does have rules. So, it goes over the history and the composition of the rare and either chuckled at or secretive order of blue wizards. Although very few of them are unhappy in their work. They obviously have a passion, and that passion is passion. And they're very good at what they do. However, it does go into detail about how most people who take up the study of blue magic are typically rather deviant and or perverted. Not that, whatever, but they usually mention that anyone who goes aggressively seeking sex magic, usually, at least when they start out, has a somewhat immature approach to sex. Which makes sense. Which also explains the number of magic spells in here that are geared primarily towards fondling people at great distance, without them knowing, you know, that it's happened or who's done it. The higher level blue magic spells primarily constitute the summoning of sexual partners, be they invisible, spectral, or authentic. But I'm skipping ahead. There were some passages I would like to share with you. It goes over the misuse of erotic magic, which I'm guessing is fairly easy to do. You gotta have consent before you start wielding the sex magic on people. But when you have consent, you are entering a whole new world of pleasure, my friends. It goes on about the temptation to abuse this magic, much like Gandalf was tempted to, no matter how rational and how much willpower you have, he was tempted to wield the One Ring and gain ultimate power. Whereas the temptation to use the erotic magic would lead to temptation to a ring of an altogether different variety. Also, most of the magic here is masturbatory, because it's sometimes kind of hard to talk to a really dedicated blue mage. They have somewhat skewed perspectives at times as to the desires of other people. Some are very selfish. So, let's see. Oh, and there's a little chapter about helping people with blue magic. It's very small. I think I found the only really way to do it with the boob jobs. And I did that mainly as a joke. It goes into detail about how these particular wizards live and where they live. Okay, I'll just read this to you. The wonders of me reading a book for you. As with much of magic, the one who studies and uses it can become closed off and isolated from the world. The difference being that blue magi are not closed off studying, but rather using their magic on themselves for fun and profit, and losing themselves in the various hot and sticky pleasures to be found in the pages of their spell books. Actually, That makes sense. Although the stickiness of their spellbook pages is not... Oh, jeez. Pallid and trembling of hand, their brief and rare forays into the outside world for food can spark a panic that aboleth slime has made their way into a town water supply. What? Can spark a panic that aboleth slime has made it... That makes no sense. Okay. Towers are a peculiarity of most wizards. According to to many female earthy druidic persons of an unshaven armpits persuasion. Wow! Towers are, quote, towering symbols of the lascivious thaumaturgical dominance of the wizardly profession expressed in architectural form to compensate for their inadequacy and to express their belief supremacy over female-oriented earth magicians. It's getting kind of militant there. Not sure I should dwell on this one. Quite what any of this means to most people are not... Quite what any of this means, most people are not sure. But wizards who have seen the patches of mud these people call holy tend to attribute it to tower envy and add an extra story. Sorry, the phrasing and syntax here is... I'm stumbling over it. I'm not used to reading material of this kind. Benzai would probably be a little more suited to this. He's probably seen words like this more often. Blue magi seem especially attracted to the idea of towers, spending a great deal of money to have the most splendid and extravagant one they can afford. I'm usually very envious of these structures. This is in part good advertising, as their tower looms over the surrounding slums in which they usually make their homes. Decked out in pink marble and crowned with dazzling amethyst, the towers are a sight to see and something to be sniggered at. I laughed. I got these pages marked here. Okay. Now, there's a chapter that says novel uses for existing magic. So whereas this book defines new spells, it also shows you various erotic and new ways of using the existing spells in D&D for sexual purposes. Let's look at some now. Let's see. Where is it? Let's see. Jinn and their ilk give wish fulfillment in more ways than one, and nothing talks dirty like a mephit. Succubi and Erinyes are obvious choices and known to even the simplest peasant, to the efforts of priests and clerics putting thoughts into their heads from every pulpit. The bi-curious part of society finds the dual nature of the incubus-succubus a good way out of leaving closets. Oh, blah. Oh, here it is. Conjuration magic, that is, does not merely summon creatures. There are other creatures within this field of magic ripe for abuse and misuse. Before he wrote his own spell, the infamous blue mage Bakedoyer, that's probably a sex thing, Hinsty, used to indulge his passion for halflings with the aid of a grease spell. I'm making that face a lot. Many magi find themselves constantly busy, with no time to seek relief for their sexual tensions, and both hands occupied for days at a time. This has led some enterprising souls to horribly misuse the intended purpose of unseen servant. A wizard sat at their table constructing potions and devices with a manic smile on their face may not in fact be mad, but rather enjoying the tender ministrations of their own shapeless force. Those challenged on this just claim that it is, quote, no different than... Sorry. I'm getting flustered. Those challenged on this often claim that, quote, it is no different to having a quick one off the wrist because it uses magical power than hand power. The last, most commonly seen misuse of conventional magic is the spell Web. The sticky strands being suggestive in their own way. Dark elves in particular seem to get a special thrill from being bound, or binding others, in the spider-like sticky webs. It is kind of funny, but I really don't want to go there. Although, let's face it, come on, you know you think it every time you throw a web spell. Druids. That's why you become druids, right? This leads to the prestige classes of the nymphology book. Where can you possibly go when you are already a practitioner of the most sexual and randy magic possible? Well, when you've leveled up sufficiently and mastered certain skills, you can in fact become an exclusive member of a number of prestige classes, which will just make you the most interesting and envied of the players in the entire group. For instance, there's the Mystic Pimp. What do you need to become a Mystic Pimp? In order to become a Mystic Pimp, well, pimping ain't easy, so there's a few requirements. You must fulfill all the following criteria. Appraise 8 ranks, because you gotta size up them hoes to know whether or not they can sell that ass. Bluff 8 ranks, because if they can't sell that ass, you've got to at least convince people that they're worth the price. Intimidate 8 ranks, because bitch better have my money. And if she don't, there's gonna be trouble. Back of the hand. Intimidate. Gotta have it. And sense motive 8 ranks. Is bitch gonna rip me off? Because bitch better have my money. You gotta get that money. That's what being a pimp's all about, is getting that money. Oh dear. This is gonna be used to blackmail me in the either immediate or distant future. So, the Mystic Pimp's class skills and the key ability for each skill are Appraise, Bluff, Diplomacy, not commonly used for Mystic Pimps, I would imagine, although, Gather Information, like Huggy Bear, one often has ears and bitches on the street. They hear things. Knowledge, Nature. Hey man, I just because I'm a pimp doesn't mean I can't watch the Discovery Channel, man. Bitch better have my money. I gotta teach them techniques so they can do it Froggy style. I don't know why I'm talking like this. It's highly offensive. But the rest of this book is highly offensive as well, so I might as well just jump in balls deep. I'm gonna stop that now. Knowledge streetwise. Knowledge the planes. Well, I guess it's because they can summon other creatures other than their normal bitches. Because they are mages, after all. So why deal with just normal bitches when you can summon bitches and then dismiss them when you're finished? I'm trying to rationalize this. Class hit points at each level, 4 plus intelligence modifier. Because their intelligence does play into how many hit points they get. The following class features of the Mystic Pimp Prestige class. Weapon and armor proficiencies. Mystic Pimps are proficient with all simple weapons and light armor. That's it. The Mystic Pimp rapidly earns a degree from the School of Hard Knocks, learning their way around the streets, how to act, how to behave, and who not to fuck with. Who not to mess with, it says. This gives the Mystic Pimp... I just love saying Mystic Pimp. We need to recruit more pimps, more pushers. +2 on Bluff, Gather Information, Intimidate, and Sense Motive checks in a street life situation. It's basic thugonomics. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay, yes. They have to summon they have to summon the exotic tastes of their clients. It's not just all bitches on the street. I would like to share with you the flavor text, the descriptive flavor text. I should never use the word flavor in a book about sex, but there it is. I would like to read you, I highlighted this specifically, the description, or the quotations. Sometimes in prestige classes there's a little short story, like no more than a paragraph, that kind of gives you a slice of life in the various characters' life. So the book asks, what does a Mystic Pimp have to offer? The answer: pussy! Pussy, pussy, pussy! All summon pussy must go! At the House of Nymphs, we're cutting pussy in half! This is a pussy blowout! We got nymph pussy, dryad pussy, mermaid pussy, elf pussy, halfling pussy, giant pussy, vampire pussy, we got mummy pussy, ogre pussy, dwarf pussy, demon pussy, angel pussy, invisible pussy! If we don't have it, we can summon it! And if you can find weirder pussy out there, fuck it! Next is the Peeping Scryer. I think you can imagine where that one goes. I can't imagine there's 5 different levels of the Peeping Scryer. Mainly they spend all their time gazing into their balls. Their crystal balls. Strangely enough, there is no descriptive flavor text or quotation from the Peeping Scryer because he's busy right now. Their special abilities include never forget an ass, still spell, because from a great deal of practice, the Peeping Scryer has learned to cast spells without using their hands. There's the now there's how you apply skills and feats, existing skills and feats, as well as new skills. How you apply these to a sexual nature, as well as the sex magic nature. For one, the concentration skill is especially important, both in matters of sex and magic, doubly so when you combine them. So, in addition to you have to make concentration checks whenever one is potentially distracted or under duress, undergoing physical trauma, mental trauma, things like that. Ogre pussy, vampire pussy, mummy pussy. One has to make concentration checks to maintain the spellcasting process and the casting of other things. But, of course, given the nature of this magic, they've had to add a number of other descriptions of things that could distract you, as well as the difficulty check to roll your skill against to maintain your concentration. These particular distractions are, of course, engage in intercourse, which is 20 plus the spell level. It is hard to focus on casting spells when one is actively getting laid. Receiving oral attention, that's 15 plus the spell level. Giving oral attention, that's very difficult. As you can imagine, it's virtually impossible to speak the words of power, to invoke certain magics, when your mouth is full of cock. Or you're busy, tongue. As such, you are normally unable to cast spells with verbal components. The difficulty for concentrating while receiving a lap dance, 10 plus spell level. Facing an attractive and naked opponent in battle. 15? Wait. Oh, sorry, the pages are a little sticky. 5 plus spell level plus the number of naked opponents. And the difficulty to concentrate when, quote, needing to adjust one's tackle is 10. It's hard to... Hang on. Ugh. And I just lost the spell, you know. Of course, there's just all sorts of sex feats, bedroom proficiency, how you apply endurance. Endurance is probably the most critical skill to possess in vast quantities when this is your job. Of course, there are various magic items. The pop-up pork sword. It resembles a club. The pop-up pork sword is activated by hitting a catch on the handle, at which point a 12-inch section springs out of the end and wobbles back and forth like a reasonably firm knockwurst. The pork sword The pop-up pork sword. It acts as a +1 club with the additional effect that anyone hit by the pork sword is affected by the power word orgasm spell. So be careful to not get hit with the pop-up pork sword, or things may get uncomfortable. Well, I know they actually make it very comfortable in the immediate future, but don't get you're getting hit with a +1 extendable dildo, but when struck by it, man, it's the power word orgasm spell, which I think is a fairly high level spell. There's the potion of lust, the potion of performance, the various cock rings, the ring of girth, the ring of penetration, not the kind of, usually we're talking armor penetration, and unless we're talking about the chastity belt variety, that's not what we're talking about here. The balls of voyeurism, the carved monkey of spanking. Okay, look, we're not going to the counter monkey, carved monkey parallel, so just, we're gonna cut that off right here. I shouldn't have said that either. This whole video is an exercise in phrasing, and I'm failing that test. There's actually magical chastity belts. The basic magic chastity belt, the alarmed one, I can see that. The cured, in addition to the arcane lock of the basic chastity belt, there's a typo. The cured chastity belt. We're talking the cursed chastity belt. It inflicts the interloper attempting to breach the chastity belt with a bestow curse spell. Well, makes sense. You know, when you're a father who cares very much about his teenage daughter, you want anyone who's violating that sacred field to yeah. The droopy chastity belt. In addition to the arcane lock, a droopy chastity belt afflicts interlopers' prized jewels with something resembling the horrid wilting spell. This causes the target's member to shrivel up and become useless, causing 15 D8 points of damage to the creature from the excruciating experience. 15? Wow! So that'd be like, nobody could survive that. Man, you try to get in those drawers, man. Not only is your dick doesn't shrivel up, you shrivel up like fucking Donovan in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. None of your member to shrivel up because, dude, you'd crumble into dust. And God, you wouldn't want to live if you did. What the fuck? The jockstrap of impressive lunchbox. A gnome contraption worn under a hosiery. This device is fixed with leather straps and consists of various working cogs, levers, and gears around a magic. I don't want working cogs around my junk, upon approaching a female biped, the gem probes their mind. This is already getting so wrong. And ascertains exactly what size package appeals to them, and either expands or contracts, depending on the reading made. This grants the male wearer a +2 bonus to skill checks made to seduce or impress the target. I can't add to that. I shudder to think of what would happen if said female is actively staring at you when your, what's it called again? When your jockstrap of impressive lunchbox inflates directly in front of her. She may get the entirely wrong idea, or the entirely right one, but there's a great deal for mistakes to be made, as well as embarrassment. You probably should not let yourself be seen deploying the jockstrap of impressive lunchbox. And also, one should keep your pop-up pork sword well hidden and secured. Because again, if anyone accidentally gets struck with it, you're either going to become very popular or on a watch list somewhere for a long time. Although, again, very popular with the various other inmates of the dungeon in which you get sentenced. And my second favorite part, next to the pussy blowout, are the creatures of lust. Of course, there had to be monsters and various creatures assigned to as threats in the world of sex magic. This is mature content, okay? So I trust that I trust that we can all maintain some decorum and maturity as I proceed to describe these following monsters in the spirit that they're intended. I don't know if you hear that, but that's not me. It will be me in a second. But let's try to maintain our composure as I describe to you these monsters, which will no doubt make their way into your monstrous compendium. The bearded clam. Colossal gay owl. Colossal gay owl. He is a colossal beast with 675 hit points. He is indeed colossal. But how gay is Colossal Gay Owl? I'm sorry, I'm having a moment. His primary attack is biting, which he bites at plus 41 to hit. So if Colossal Gay Owl has reason to dislike you, he's probably gonna take a giant bite out of you. His special attacks include Improved Grab, Swallow Whole. Oh god. Oh no. Colossal Gay Owl's charisma is not as high as you would imagine. 10. He probably appeals to the bear audience. He's big, not traditionally attractive as one would imagine, but ruggedly handsome in their own way. Not if we're taking the various descriptions of charisma and comeliness, typically one applies to like the Calvin Klein model, whereas Colossal Gay Owl appeals and is interested in. I'm just making things up now. His alignment is chaotic neutral, which surprises me. Although when Colossal Gay Owl, he has a very different. Let's just say that his way of life is not traditionally not accepted in the puritanical traditional world of nymphology. But I'd best get back on track and describe Colossal Gay Owl for you. He is not, in fact, a person. He would be very colossal if he was a big gay person with nearly 700 hit points. He is, in fact, an allosaur, an enormous dinosaur not unlike a tyrannosaur. So he's a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. He's very brightly colored, possessed of a rudimentary intelligence, but his gayness, there's nothing rudimentary about that. He has a tremendous singing voice and demeanor as camp. And sorry, I'm flustered. I'm getting excited by just how wonderful. He's possessed of a rudimentary intelligence, a good singing voice, and a demeanor as camp as all nations scout jamboree. He dwarfing buildings. What the fuck is this? Who gives a shit about Colossal Gay Owl? And why is he a gay Allosaurus? What? Colossal Gay Owl travels the world talking in a high-pitched voice, rolling his eyes, drinking enormous cocktails, singing show tunes, flapping ineffectually. This is so offensive. Flapping ineffectually with his tiny limp dinosaur hands and devouring communities whole when he's hungry, complaining afterwards that it will go straight to his hips. Colossal Gay Al is disinclined to engage in combat, save when hungry, criticized, or attacked. So be nice, okay? Ultimately, all Colossal Gay Al really wants is a loving partner to spend his life with. And really, isn't that all of us? I think we can all relate to the struggles of Colossal Gay Al. Aside from the fact he's an allosaur who sings show tunes. Moving on. There are, of course, the giant crabs. Giant enemy crabs, which, they're not, they're not that giant in the sense that, like, when you picture that, no, these are different crabs. They're rather large, however, and you cannot usually flip them on their back for massive damage. They're very tiny. Giant for Jesus Christ. They have the feet weapon finesse, however, so if one has giant crabs, don't fuck with them. You need to seek out a cleric immediately. I wonder if it says that. They reproduce rapidly. How do you get rid of them? Don't tell me it's combat. Giant crabs are carriers of a horrible disease known as minge rot, knob dropper, rotten rod, and foul flaps. Holy shit! I'm stealing that. The disease caused the person's John Thomas or love tunnel to be covered in large, stinking, weeping sores. How do you get rid of them? It doesn't say! You have to engage them in combat, I guess. Their special attacks are being itchy and biting. Their charisma's only 2. They're hard to find charming. Their climate/terrain is, quote, pubic and buttock crevice hair. I'm going to try that again. Their climate is pubic and buttock crevice hair. Their alignment is always neutral. They don't discriminate. As long as you have pubic and buttock crevice hair, they'll make themselves at home in your pubic or buttock crevice hair. I'm looking at my favorite monster right now, but I'm gonna save him as the epic solo, so to speak. The porn golem, which, believe it or not, actually makes sense. There's certain religions in D&D and otherwise that are getting steamy in here. There are certain religions that are based around fertility and the act of sexual congress, and in particularly high-priced brothels, one might actually find a porn golem. Not what you're thinking, probably. They're a perfectly carved statue of soft stone in the shape of a physical idol, usually fully and impressively equipped, and some even incorporating fountains, if squirting is your thing. The porn golem is 8 foot tall and weighs around 1,500 pounds. Its body is of smoothly polished stone and is warmed from within by magic. Its stone flesh is ever so slightly, and thus features such as the face, nipples, and phallus can react to outside stimulus. Porn golems are often placed in the bathrooms and bedrooms of the rich and powerful. providing a kitsch aesthetic touch, a last line of defense against intruders, because what good are they, aside from humping, if they're not going to defend your house? And a bed partner if other methods prove less than fruitful. Porn golems are frightening opponents, and no less effective in battle for their sexual attributes or kitsch 70s porn star chic. How so? Even I don't know this. Oh god. What? Their strength is 27. So, yeah, they could slap a tornado, man. Don't fuck with a porn golem, to torture a phrase. The organization, they're either solitary or in a gang. That would probably cost a lot to participate in the fantasy of a gang porn golem bang. But probably the most spectacular experience of your life. You know you're going to use this. They're going to go into some really like cosmopolitan or what's the word I'm thinking of? High priced or I can't even find the words. Porn golems. They're 8 foot tall, weigh 1,500 pounds. And they have a strength of 27, so man, they will fuck you up against a wall no matter how big your ass is. Probably the only person they couldn't fuck is Colossal Gay Al. Well, strength 27? Shit. Hang on a second. I gotta know. Could a porn golem, Eiffel Tower, Colossal Gay Al, or Wheelbarrow, what have you? Allow me to find out. I have the, rules are colliding a little bit, but I'm going to consult the Rules Cyclopedia of original Dungeons and Dragons and discover what, in fact, it may not even be charted in this game. No, old D&D, no way they charted it that high. Oh no, that caps at 8. I gotta go, 2nd edition Player's Handbook to solve the mystery of Colossal Gay Al. 27 may not even be possible here. No, it caps out at 25, motherfuckers. Which, by the way, is the strength of a Titan. Greater than that of a Cloud Giant. Greater than a Storm Giant. No, these are stronger than fucking Titans. Okay, I know. We're talking 3rd edition here. So, what other book can I consult here that is the 3rd edition? I have Pathfinder here. Pathfinder is basically 3rd edition. It's a good thing I have this exhaustive library behind me. I gotta know, you guys. Come on. I gotta know if Colossal Gay Al comes around my house. If I'm safeguarded. Because that motherfucker devours villages. He can swallow pretty much anything whole. That's just how Colossal Gay Al rolls. I'm stumbling here. Okay. Strength of 27. Oh, how much can you lift? What's the maximum? Damn it. Carry weight. I'm sorry. This is important to me. I gotta know how much a porn golem can fuck. Because, like, really, you gotta bear with me here, because really, why else are you watching this video if not to get into details of how much a porn golem can... oh, come on. Tiny and large weapon damage. What if you hit a porn golem with the pop-up pork sword? The possibilities are endless. I know, okay. Well, I'm gonna find encumbrance in this book, because that would be the answer here. Encumbrance. Why do they have one fucking dinosaur? Look, I know it's comedy, but Colossal Gay Al? Come on, man. It's awfully specific, and I'm probably going to use Colossal Gay Al at some point, but I'm not, no. Very uncomfortable right now. Encumbrance. Come on. It's... okay. 169. Alright. Soon, the mystery will be unlocked. Like a cursed chastity belt. Okay. Encumbrance. Carrying capacity. Here we go. What did I say? 27? Yes. Okay. 27. They can comfortably lift 346 pounds. So odds are they've got you covered. Their maximum load, if you're wondering if they can, if you're wondering what a heavy load for them is, it's a lot. 1,040 pounds, 1,040 pounds. That's the biggest load they can handle. So quite a lot. Now, how much does Colossal Gay Al weigh? It probably doesn't, although, like, it does not, in fact, give height and weight of an allosaur. But you know I can find out. Oh, I gotta know. I gotta know if Colossal Gay Al could maybe find satisfaction one day in a porn golem. Because I care about Colossal Gay Al. I just want him to be happy. Because we all deserve happiness. Even Colossal Gay. I think I know where an Allosaurus might be. Let's see. The Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual. One of the earliest editions. The early editions of AD&D manuals actually had titties in them. So if you saw, for instance, a succubus, it would be pencil drawings of a naked a devil. Not at all erotic, but this is the exact sort of shit that got Dungeons & Dragons demonized. No pun intended. It was because it had really, really crap topless demons in it that weren't at all sexy. I admit I jerked off a couple times to it. I may have said too much. I didn't. Baboon. Number appearing. 10 to 40. 40 fucking baboons? The tribe will be led by 2 to 8 large males. Half the tribe will be young, which will not attack. Oh, that's if you run into a fucking tribe of them. Fuck's sake. If their territory is threatened, or they're trying to sexually dominate you, they get a lot more damaging and aggressive. Dinosaur. Oh, I think it's under dinosaur. Bone. Asmodeus. They statted Asmodeus. Asmodeus Figaro. Ooh. Naked. I can't show you this. The Pit Fiend. The Balor. Okay. Anatosaurus. Ankylosaurus. Entrodemus. Allosaurus! Fuck. No, wait. They're 30 foot long. This mystery may have to go unsolved. Why doesn't it... Damn it, why can't you satisfy my curiosity by telling me exactly how much a Brachiosaurus weighs? I ask you, why? Then we'll never know now. The T-Rex... it says it's like a T-Rex. How big is a... 50 foot long, 20 feet high. Well, I apologize, you guys. I have failed you. Perhaps one day, one of us will craft an adventure attempting to lead Colossal Gay Al to some form of happiness. And that happiness may be in the form of your standard porn golem, or it may not. Perhaps a particular blue mage, here's an adventure idea, to save many lives, and to, instead of just killing Colossal Gael, because that's a hate crime, is trying to maybe enhance the capability, so to speak, of his personal porn golem, to offer him as an offering to Colossal Gael, so that he could be satisfied. Perhaps even equipping the porn golem with the pop-up pork sword. That would actually work. Because if you struck Colossal Gael with the pop-up pork sword, it would instantly hit him with the power word orgasm spell. I think I figured it out. So yes, even if you could not wheelbarrow fuck an Allosaurus with a porn golem, there are ways. Anyway, I will conclude. Well, actually, hang on. Did I talk about the spells? Because power word orgasm is worth talking, but we've discussed it enough. Holy shit, that's a dirty picture. And I can't even show you that, not ever. Oh, I remember. Okay, there's alter breasts, which actually is a level 0 spell, and I kind of call bullshit on that. That's fairly significant physical change to inflict on somebody. Cast either on yourself or others, this spell can confer upon the recipient the magical effect either of fried eggs or big wobbly fun bags. Anything from a double D down to an A cup can be given regardless of the gender of the target. Any bigger than that, then you're pushing the limits of magic, man. So some things even magic cannot do. And that's bigger than a double D. That's a saving throw. Fortitude negates and is harmless. Because, wow, that would be... you have to touch the creature to alter their breasts. I hope it's easily dispelled. Does it have a Oh, there is a duration. This one isn't permanent. 30 minutes a level. So if you're trying to work some seduction, either get a high level mage or you got to work fast, because them boobies is going to deflate. Bardic Hiding. This actually is a magic spell, as opposed to the Bardic Knock, which is not magic. For sorcerers and wizards, it's a level 1 spell, but for bards, it's a cantrip. Because bards have to use this spell quite often. Bards the world over are renowned for sleeping with people they really should not. Lord, I've been there. Got thrown off of Mount fucking Olympus that one time. Be they innkeeper spouses, kings, queens, or the lovers of valiant and jealous knights with enormous razor-sharp swords, or Zeus. Given the bard's lack of anything remotely resembling combat ability, fuck you! My bard was the greatest swordsman in the world! Fuck you, anything remotely... This book sucks! Many have wondered how they have managed to survive. I've turned on this book. This is mainly due to being fleet of foot, and already having planned out an escape route, and also being the best swordsman in the fucking world, but sometimes it is due to this simple yet efficacious little spell. Wow, not usually tripped up by words like that. When cast, the spell enables the hider to hide extremely effectively within a boudoir environment by jumping into cupboards, sliding under beds, or standing ineffectively behind a lamp. Regardless of where they stand or hide, provided they have made even a feeble effort to do so, they receive a bonus to their hide check equal to their caster level, enabling them to dodge all but the most observant of jealous spouses. There's a Baked Doyers, BAYKDOYRE, Baked Dory's Ultimate Lubrication. I don't think I need to explain this one. When conjured, it can be chosen to be in one of these fruity flavors: grape, orange, mint, or gooseberry. The casting of this spell has led to personal fame and fortune for Bake Doyer, but also the first successful halfling ogre crossbreeding incident. Oh god. His fame and fortune were limited, however, since not long after releasing his spell to the magical community, he was arrested by the Watch, no fewer than 15 ruptured pixie bodies having been found in his home. This book is pretty funny. Aside from that knock on bards there. Bigot's groping hand. You know, this one is the worst. I do not like this spell. Change orientation. At least it's not permanent. I thought it was. Oh, jeez. Okay, so it's a 4th level wizard spell, 3rd level bards, because apparently bards are expert wielders of this magic. It will alter your orientation for an hour per level. Although, once the kink or orientation change has been implanted, the mage is free to go up and make their modest proposal to the now far more receptive target, who will hopefully blame the drink come the morning. Yeah. Yeah. It only makes you a complete rapist. Change sex. Only a 3rd level spell, but it doesn't last very long. 30 minutes a level. Clothes to chocolate, cream, or oil. Dirk's impressive tool. Once cast, anyone who sets eyes upon the genitalia of the caster will regard it as the absolute most beautiful and enormous example of manhood they have ever seen, and will feel compelled to pass this information to anyone who might be remotely interested. I have no need of this spell. Morning Wood. I don't understand this spell at all. Okay, ladies, if you don't know this is a thing. Many men awake in the morning with a magnificent and perfect erection that would normally go utterly to waste. Oh no, it doesn't. By casting this spell, the blue mage is able to avoid blue balls, I suppose. Actually, that could be the reference. Is able to preserve the morning's first glorious hard-on for later use. Night Visitor. It's every bit as rapey as you think. Oh god. Oh! Onestrom's personal fluidic enhancer. Alright. The infamous Onestrom Fiddler embarked on an exhaustive study on the sexual issue of every single humanoid species before making a stunning discovery. The bigger ones, by and large, produced more. Driven by the desire to do so himself and others, to give others the same possibility, he distilled the essence of these larger creatures via magical processes and discovered a way to confer their prodigious levels of spooge production on lesser beings. And silence falls. Power word orgasm. With a single utterance, so profoundly obscene, shocking, and pornographic that even the gods of love blush to hear it, the mage causes the target to turn into a melting pool of orgasmic bliss. Any creature with a constitution score of less than 10 is effectively stunned, writhing on the floor in bliss for 3d6 rounds. With a constitution of between 10 and 20, they're stunned for 2d6 rounds, and otherwise 1d6. Power word orgasm is a powerful but messy way of ensuring a retreat from battle, a surefire way of pleasuring a partner, and a good way to ensure they are also not faking it. This is a 7th level spell. Power not to be wielded lightly, to be sure. Ray of nipple hardening, really? That's all it is you shoot it at somebody and it makes their nipples hard. Summon sex partner. There's a summon sex partner spell for every level of this sphere of magic. or both spheres, progressively getting more and more disturbing. If you don't know what a summon monster spell is, well, this spell summons a creature and binds them into your presence or client long enough for a sexual act to take place. The creature summoned may not be entirely willing. Here we go. But is bound by the magic of the spell to do what is required and cannot return to their home save by fulfilling the demands of the spell. Okay, wow. First level. The sex... By the way, when I first read this, actually the first like 3 times I read this, I don't know why, but the font is such that I could have sworn it said Summon Sex Panther. Obviously it's Sex Panther, but it looks like Sex Panther from my failing eyesight. No, but I was like, is there an arcane failure chance to this? Like, it's probably not entirely fail, whatever. It's probably, I'm sorry, I can't concentrate. Foolproof. It's probably not entirely foolproof. So I figure like every time you cast it, maybe there's a chance for mishap. So, 80% of the time it works 100% of the time. I'm not even making that. I thought it said Sex Panther. Anyway, so the monsters that one can summon with the Summon Sex Panther spell, an Aasimar, a Dryad, an Imp, a medium-sized animated object, Merfolk, Ogre, Satyr, a Grig Sprite, a Nixie, or a Tiefling. You can summon a fucking Ogre who is bound to service to fuck you. Can't go home until it fucks you. Second level, and they're going to get good from here. Mephit, and you knew this was coming. Centaur, Doppelganger, or a large animated object. You know what I want to fuck is an animated wardrobe. I want that to cut, like, it'd be like if I wanted to fuck something out of the Beauty and the Beast animated movie. Third level, a genie. A Janny Genie is what it says. Half celestial, a Hound Archon, a Minotaur, a Pixie, or a Triton. Fourth level, a Djinn, Genie, half fiend, troll, or a Yanti Pureblood. Fifth level, a half dragon, a chiton, which I believe is a demon, a chain demon. I guess okay, I know that's why they're covered in clad entirely in chains. So I guess we're talking like they're gimps or they're bondage demons. Cute. A lamia or a nymph. Sixth level. Oh my god, a drider. If you don't know what a drider is, they are cursed, in source lore, rather cursed drow elves, all male, who have somehow invoked the displeasure, or maybe not even there. They just get cruelly subjected to this curse, where they become enormous but dangerous, half spider, half drow elf hybrids. So they have like the body of a gigantic fuck off spider, and the top half of a drow, I think. And also they can cast like tremendously powerful magic. But no, if you cast Summon Sex Panther at 6th level, you can fuck one. And Erinyes, which is a very powerful devil, or a Lilend. I got nothing on that one. 7th level, you can fuck an Ifriti, a Gynosphinx, or an Ogre Mage. 8th level, Androsphinx, Avaral, a Rakshasa, or a Succubus. 9th level, the most powerful. This is wish level magic of Sex Panthers we're summoning here. An Astral Diva, or a Trumpet Archon. You can basically fuck the Archangel Michael. A Trumpet Archon, yeah, he'll blow your horn. Jesus, you probably summoned Jesus at night. Phew. we've been building towards a climax, and here we go. I present to you with. I'm not going to explain this. I'm going to let you come to the realization of what I'm talking about as I read the entry, because I want you to experience it the way I experienced it for the first time, as well as my following reaction. This is the most horrific monster I've ever I was gonna say conceived of phrasing. That's a fuck it. Don't fuck it. The name of the monster is Creamy Ooze. Creamy Ooze. It has 26 hit points. It has a slam attack at +3. It will slam you. Its special attacks are improved grab and constrict. So, okay. Found in places where lots of sex takes place, and people do not necessarily clean up well after themselves, the creamy ooze forms where the stuff of life meets certain chemical reagents. Often surviving in the back alleys by catching pets, beating them unconscious, and slowly dissolving them, as well as feeding on rubbish, the creamy ooze can be an unwelcome surprise for urban explorers. Can be? Pearlescent in color, and with an unmistakable smell. I almost got pearlescent in color, and with an unmistakable smell. The creamy ooze moves slowly. I'd forgotten this bit. I'm going to try again. Pearlescent in color, and with an unmistakable smell, the creamy ooze moves slowly, but is capable of sudden dashes or spurts of movement. Good night. No. The creamy ooze always strikes from ambush. It will spurt at you from behind. It will always do that. It has the ability of improved grab. It must first hit you, and if it gets a hold of you, it will proceed to cover you and squeeze its opponent. It deals automatic damage plus an additional point of acid damage with a successful grapple check. Any clothes are horribly stained and go crusty unless washed within 24 hours. Camouflage. It takes a successful spot check at 15 to recognize a motionless creamy ooze for anything other than a big puddle of jism. Obviously, this camouflage is only effective where you might expect to find such phenomena, such as a brothel. If you're going to a brothel where there is an absurdly large, quote, puddle of jism, it's a medium-sized ooze. That's a load of fucking spunk. Literally. That's a big fuck-off pile of jism. But if you're in such a location where one would commonly find table-sized pools of cum, you better watch your ass. Literally. Because it could be a creamy ooze about to strike you from behind, cover you in its pearlescent mass, and constrict you to death. If I ever go out, if I ever die from a creamy ooze, don't ever bring me back. I couldn't live with that. You can never. I can never Oh God. There's a challenge rating of 4. So yeah, if you're seeing giant pools of jism, step lively. I guess this is where you would actually have a incredibly legitimate use for the 10-foot long pole, so you can probe the depths of the pools of jism to see if they react. Although I don't know if, oh my God, yes. Oh, I forgot one of their abilities, the spurt, because they can spurt. By expending one of its hit points, the creamy ooze can move in a sudden spurt, in addition to its normal movement. This enables it to move an additional 20 feet per round, and if this would move it into an area occupied by another creature, it gains a free additional attack. Fuck me! Don't fuck me! With... there's two sizes of creamy ooze. There's the 4 to 6 hit dice medium-sized ooze, and the 7 to 9 hit dice large-sized ooze. If you're in a... Where the fuck would you be where enough... What did they call it? Stuff of life has accumulated to form a 8-foot radius pool of... You're running a weird campaign, bro. I just want you to know that. And say what you want about my game. I've never drowned a player character in cum. In or out of game. Well, no. Once again, for those of you interested in purchasing this this supplement, it's called Encyclopedia Arcane Nymphology Blue Magic. I'm sure if you do a search, you'll find it. And since it's print on demand, you don't need to deal with the rather uncomfortable stares and human interaction of actually taking it up to the counter of your friendly local game store. That says a lot. Unlike, I mean, the Book of Erotic Fantasy, actually, I have handled the purchase. I've been on both sides of the counter, really, having to buy the Book of Erotic Fantasy. But yeah, with Nymphology, who buys this? Who is the fucking weirdo who goes out of their way to go on a website and buy a book about